Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Katya, and in this video I'll be showing you how to make a stained glass pattern that works and some simple rules that you can follow to avoid any headaches later down the line. If you're new here, I'm Kat. Thanks for clicking on this video. I'm a designer and I've been doing stained glass for about 2 years now, and here is some of my work on the screen. And on this channel, I cover things related to stained glass pattern making, process videos, cutting tips, soldering tips, that kind of thing. If that's something you're interested in, please interact with this video or subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you all. So here I've got my calla lily drawing. This is a mock-up based on a sketch of a calla lily that I've made. And let me show you how to fix this drawing to make it into a stained glass pattern. So the first thing I want to focus on is the lines. I'm looking for free floating lines like this, or lines that don't extend to an endpoint. And by an endpoint, I mean wherever it starts bumping into another line. I would get rid of this line totally and replace it with something like this that still shows this kind of curve that happens in the flower, but breaks up this big piece and gets rid of this awkward shape. And then for the lines that are unfinished, I'll just extend them all the way here. And this tip of the flower, we can move the drawing up just a little bit, have it end right there, just like that. That looks like it takes care of the free floaters and the unfinished lines. So the second thing we'll cover is angles and curves. A big thing you want to avoid are right angles. Like for example, this square frame around the drawing. A simple way we could fix that is either a line over here or making a little square corner like that. This looks like a right angle, but it's a completely separate piece. So as long as you don't have a continuous square or full of right angles that you have to cut into, that should be fine because all of these cuts are straight. And then curves. Every time you're drawing curves for a stained glass pattern, you want to make them as gentle as possible. So an example of a gentle curve here would be this outside curve on the lily. And any sharp curves, for example, this right here, is something to avoid. So something simple we can do to fix this right here is maybe placing that line here and moving this part in a little bit. And that's fixed. And we got the corners ready. So that's already looking better. And finally, let's cover the blank space. As you can see, there's a lot of it left on this drawing. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with leaving it this way, but sometimes you don't have this much glass to use. Say you're using lots of smaller pieces and you're trying to use them up. So there's a couple of things you can do with all this empty space. Sometimes you'll see these lines just get extended into a cross in the background. That's an easy way to do it. But for this drawing, I think I want some leaves in the background just to give it a little bit of a pop for the white calla lily. So the calla lily leaves, they're like wavy, maybe something like that. And maybe one in the back here, something like that. Here. And I'll go and fix the drawing in my computer program and come back and show the results. So here's the before. And here's the after. And let's recap what we did. So here we added the border corners, kind of like a miter joint, so that there's no inner right angle cuts, like for this thin piece. And then for all the lines, we got rid of the free floating lines, extended all of the lines to an end point over here, extended it all the way back here. We raised the drawing just a little bit so it terminates or ends at the border here. For the angles and curves, we got rid of the angles in the corners, and we fixed the curvature on these pieces. So all of the curves are gentle curves. None of them are extremely sharp on these inner pieces. And then for the background, we cut down on the blank space by adding the leaves in the back. So it fills the space nicely and it gives us smaller pieces of glass that we can work with and just brings visual interest to the whole thing. Hopefully this tutorial helps someone if you're trying to make stained glass patterns for the first time. And if there's any tips that you usually use when you're making stained glass patterns, please comment them. I'd love to know what other people do as well. If you're interested in stained glass or crafting content, please subscribe or like this video. I post about stained glass on a weekly basis, process videos, tutorials, things like that. And if you made it to the end, thanks for watching.